Welcome to Killarney in County Kerry. It's known as the adventure capital of Ireland, and with a landscape like this, it's not hard to see why. The Helly Hansen Killarney Adventure Race is an epic one-day multi-sport event which takes competitors across some of the world's most dramatic, remote and challenging terrain.
Scenery is absolutely amazing. You just couldn't get any better. Mountains, lakes, blue sky. It's just amazing. Now this is a test of whether I could run uphill and walk and talk at the same time. And I'm failing it.
Hey, well done.
Thanks.
Enjoy it.
See you later.
It all takes place here in the Killarney National Park, and with mountain running, cycling and kayaking, it's going to test every muscle of the 2,000 competitors taking part. Rob Walker is your commentator, so let's join him for a closer look at the ups and downs that lie ahead.
Well, it's the third year of this once again sellout race, and it's tricky underfoot, it's stunning all around. There's a challenge for everybody. 3 different distances today, 27k for the short one, there's a 59 and a 69, and it's the long one that we'll be focusing on, and what promises to be a fascinating day here in beautiful countryside.
And there's a lot of tricky parts. It's not easy. It's an adventure race. They're going to get muddy, they're going to get dirty, they'll be wrecked by the time they get home. We are in the Killarney National Park, which is Ireland's largest national park, so we can't have thousands of people taking part in it, because we have to be aware of the environment, how lucky we are to be hosting this event in the area. Events like this don't happen without the support of the community. The whole community, the whole of Killarney really gets behind it. The town it's not painted red, but it's painted adventure for the weekend.
Well, the whole ethos of this event encompasses everything it means to be Irish, and what a setting in which to do it as well. They go past a battlefield where Cormac McCarthy and his troops famously beat the Normans in the 13th century, and the whole event takes place within the context of the Gathering, an idea to celebrate Irish history and culture.
The Gathering was an initiative that was put forward about 2 years ago, and during the year 2013 over 5,000 gatherings have taken place in Ireland. Events that have been led by local communities that have invited the diaspora, kind of over 7 million that claim Irish heritage, back into Ireland for the year. That is through family events. It could be through small adventure races that are run locally. It could be cycling races. It could be people, old school friends getting together. It's all of these gatherings. And one of the things that the Gathering has helped us to secure is the Adventure Travel World Summit for next year in 2014.
Well, the summit will be bringing more visitors for the future, but today's focus is this Killarney Adventure Race. The 3rd edition sold out. And there's plenty of climbing, as you would expect for a mountain range. First up, it's Kayaking Mountain, 400 metres of climbing. It's hill trails, it's boggy on the way up and down. Everything you'd expect for the start of a challenge of this nature. Stage 2 is a 35k bike course. It's part of the Ring of Kerry, a world-famous cycle route. It starts off in the iconic Black Valley, then goes through the Gap of Dunlow, before moving across to Mole's Gap. A cycle with a difference, and some serious gradients to be undertaken as well. The ultimate destination on the bike is the historic Muckross Lake, one of the 3 lakes of Killarney. For stage 3 of the race, an icy kayaking loop of 1.5k, then it's off the water and onto the running legs again, 18 kilometres, and it eventually takes them to the summit of Mangerton Mountain, over 800 metres of climbing, before they descend to the finish in Killarney. But that's the end of the race, and they gather for the start at 7:45, a lovely crisp morning. They're outside Kate Kearney's cottage for the big off. Some anxious faces, but some good training has been undertaken by some of the pre-race favourites, among them Aidan McMorland, who won the Wicklow Adventure Race earlier this year.
I think there's going to be a few pre-race favourites in this one, but a little bit nervous, but I'm excited as well. I'm looking forward to it. This is the last one of the season, so If I can finish off with a win, I'll be happy. I think it's because it's been grown so much in the last few years and it's so popular. The course looks really good. The organisation around the race and the other competitors are taking part. So I think it's going to be a tight race and a competitive race.
The two longer courses start here in the foothills of Ireland's largest mountain, Carron 2. It's a 7k run. It might not seem much on paper, but it's the top of that mountain and back.
The last few seconds tick by, and now they're underway. This is where the nerves turn to adrenaline, but hopefully they don't expend too much energy in these first few 100 metres. Those in this field who are contesting the 69k race will be out there for anything between 4 and 9 hours of mountain running, cycling and kayaking. Those at the back will be taking a more leisurely approach and probably have time to enjoy the scenery. It's not quite so relaxed at the front. 355 Noel O'Leary starting with intent there right at the head of the field. Aidan McMorland 292 with the number slightly folded over. He's right up there, just wanting to keep his eye on one or two who are poking their noses out front early on, including Jerry O'Sullivan with that distinctive bandana. 542 David Power, as he got it in his legs here today. You can see by the terrain that this is very, very different to a 7, 8 or 9k road race. It's all about the inclines, and some of that terrain will be very sticky, as you can see there. Everything about this course and this race interrupts your rhythm and momentum. There is McMorland up with the leaders. He doesn't need to be right out front at the moment, he just needs to be in contention. Well, one or two of these might be enjoying the fresh air above the lakes of Killarney. Plenty of time to enjoy the experience for those in the middle of the pack, but at the front it's serious business. Paul Tierney, the running specialist, has taken the lead. He's an Irish ultra runner, but how will he contend with the bike and the kayaking?
I mean, I don't cycle at all really, so I think I've been on the bike 3 times in the last week, and before that maybe 6 months ago, so I'd be just hoping that my running is okay.
Well, he's clearly going well at the moment, Paul Tierney, because he's left Aidan McMorland behind, and McMorland is not hanging around. Good work from the cameraman, keeping up there. Hennessy in 3rd place. He won this title 2 years ago.
There's a lot of competition here. It's going to be very tough. The competition gets better and better here every year, so if I can come in the top 10, I'll be quite happy.
Well, here comes Paul Tierney, not in the top 10 at the moment. He's right on top of everyone, apart from the knowledge of where his bike is. There's McMorland coming in, straight to his bike. He may well have saved a little bit of time there over Paul Tierney, and he does exit transition ahead of the man who came in first. So it's McMorland leading, Tierney in 2nd place, maybe just showing a little bit of inexperience in multisport, forgetting where he'd racked his bike, but he's out on the course now. So heading up the Black Valley towards the Gap of Dunlow, this 35k cycle course. Jerry O'Sullivan has managed to catch up with Aidan McMorland. Well, these two with a sizable gap on the rest of the field, but there's still a long, long way to go here. It's too early for them to think about the win just yet.
So the adventure race has started here in County Kerry, but there are plenty more ups and downs before the big finish in Killarney. See you after the break. Welcome back to the Helly Hansen Killarney Adventure Race. It's a one-day multi-sport event with some epic scenery but some equally epic challenges. Let's catch up on the action with our commentator, Rob Walker.
2,000 competitors, and they are now strung out along this absolutely glorious, grinding, grueling course. Some really, really tough ascents. You can almost feel the lactic acid building up in those legs. And there's still kayaking and mountain running to come. You can see from these images just how demanding this bike course is, and certainly for one of the pre-race favourites, well, this is one of his favourite parts of the course.
The 35k cycle from here back in towards Killarney, I think, is very scenic. We cycled through the gap at Dunlow, so I think that's probably going to be the most scenic part. So I hope I have enough time to get my head up and look around and appreciate where I am, but who knows what happens in a race.
Well, McMorland certainly looks as though he's in control of the 69k race at the moment, and the field are more than a little spread out. We're looking at David Power, and alongside him Ronan O'Shea. Aidan McMorland now into the lead. He's got Jerry O'Sullivan behind him and just the open road up ahead.
More hills, past me at the top. I think there's a nice downhill section after this, so it'll be a nice chance to rest the legs before we climb the next mountain. But yeah, so far so good. I think the chasing group might be getting closer though. I fell on coming down on the last descent, banged my knee badly, so hopefully it'll hold up now when I get on the next mountain.
Well, while McMorland and O'Sullivan contemplate the lead, Liam Delahunty is on his own personal mission. Diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, he has decided to defy doctors' orders by getting fit and fighting his condition out in the fresh air, and so far it's working.
I'm here this weekend. Killarney is my 5th event race. It's a part of 24 event races that I've taken on for charity. I'm a sufferer of multiple sclerosis, so I'm trying to raise funds for Multiple Sclerosis Ireland. I started this back in June. Took it on as I was going to do one race, and what spurred me on to do 24 is my friends said you couldn't run from one end of the street to the next, so that spurred me on.
Well, Delahunty embodies the very essence of this event. It's about inclusion, and as such there are 3 different distances on offer. The shortest is the 27k, the longest, the one we've been focusing on so far, is the 69, and here are the 2 leaders in the 59, Jerry O'Sullivan and Ronan O'Shea, and O'Sullivan is going for a hat-trick.
It would be nice to win it 3 times in a row. I haven't won any race 3 times in a row, so it would be nice. It's important enough, it's my local race. I won the National Series last year on the sport races, which are usually between 30 and 40 kilometres, so this is slightly longer than I normally do. It's kind of my home patch, so it's nice to do well in it. Fortunately, I won't get much time to look at it. I'll have to head down. But in fairness, we train around here now and again, and it is fabulous here. You couldn't ask for nicer scenery.
So this is the venue for the next stage. Rich in history and ringed by mountains, these are the lakes of Killarney, and racers take to kayaks for a 1.5 kilometre paddle around that island and back again.
So the 2 leaders in the 59k race have finished with their bikes, and now they take to the water. 109 Ronan O'Shea with Jerry O'Sullivan behind him going for that hat-trick. Is his bandana going to be lucky for him today? The water icy cold. There are a couple of sandbars to negotiate here, and the 2 of them side by side actually getting caught up in a little bit of a tangle. They've got the fatigue to deal with, the cold, the sandbar, and each other. Oh, good to see they are smiling a little bit, but it's O'Sullivan who's coming away slightly stronger at the moment, just using O'Shea as a bit of a battering ram. Now he's got a little bit of daylight. Big, powerful man, but you can see there just how difficult it is for them to push against the wind. Those arms and those shoulders will be getting tired. Well, the leading woman now coming up to the water. That's Fiona Mead, taking a drink, heading towards her kayak. Well, compared to 35k on the bike, 1.5k may not seem like much, but I bet it feels like it out on that water, round the island and back in. And here is the 59k race leader, Jerry O'Sullivan, and he definitely did get some daylight between himself and Ronan O'Shea. But as those cold, tired feet drag the kayak out the water, he and O'Shea contemplate the ascent of Torque Mountain. Still to come.
So the penultimate stage of this race is yet another mountain run, right to the top of this nearer one for the 59-kilometre competitors, or a really serious climb to the top of Mangerton Mountain for the long course competitors.
Well, Eric Wolf is now our new leader because the man who was carrying the mantle in the 69k race took a wrong turn and had a puncture. And that means Aidan McMorland has some work to do in these closing stages if this title is to be his.
The really tough parts, I think, are the second run up around Mangerton Mountain, because after doing 35 kilometres on the bike, the legs are really tired. It's been raining a lot this week, so it's going to be pretty sticky and heavy there, so I think that's going to be the toughest part of the race. This year I've worked a lot on my mountain running, so I think if I can get to Mangerton with the lead group, I can put in some time on the ascent. And this year I've been quite fast coming down the mountains as well, so I think it's when you're pushed quite hard, I think you can just put injuries and falls aside and just go for it coming down the mountain. So mountain run is my strongest this year. I think that mountain is going to, I think that's going to separate the winners from the losers at the end of the race.
So Wolf leading, McMorland second, and Adrian Hennessy going well in third place at the moment as they traverse Cormac's Haggard, the battlefield, where the Irish famously beat the Normans in the 13th century. Not only great scenery, but superb history being enjoyed and passed here in sunny conditions. Now, earlier on, we were looking at the leading lady. That was Fiona Mead wearing 2:16, but she has since been passed by a very fresh-looking Marie Boyle, clearly feeling comfortable as she ascends Mangerton Mountain. Can she hang on for the win?
It's worse for you.
Well, it's still pretty tight, but this would be a great victory for Boyle.
I'll get on.
Not too bad now. Just been passed by another girl. She's gone into first. So I'll just keep going.
So it's pretty close between Fiona Mead and Marie Boyle. But at the moment, back with the men, heading towards the summit of Mangerton Mountain, Eric Wolf still has a handy advantage over Aidan McMorland, the pre-race favourites. Wolf now on the descent, and in a moment he will go past McMorland. And Aidan has spoken before about how good he is on the descents. He's been pretty confident about that and pretty vocal about it in the build-up to this race, but he'll need to put that into play now. Here he goes, picking up the pace. It would be a pretty dramatic turnaround if he could close down Eric Wolf, but he'll have huge motivation after that puncture and the wrong turn. This is David Power. The lakes of Killarney and the invitation of the finish line is behind him, but there's a fair way to go. Plenty of sights still to take on board. The Devil's Punch Bowl, a handy place for a refreshment. And perhaps if you're towards the back of the field, a moment to enjoy the view and this most grand of settings. So Aidan McMorland, as good as his word, he does take the lead on the descents. He's taken a massive chunk of time out of Eric Wolf in second place and looking like he's hanging on to that position a little bit at the moment, because Adrian Hennessy's not far behind him in third.
Well, I'm sure there's some pretty sore legs after the descent off the mountains, but it's back on the bikes for the final push, just 4 kilometres to Killarney.
So the climax of the 59k race, Jerry O'Sullivan going for the hat-trick, and Ronan O'Shea in the yellow jersey is the only man who can stop him, but I don't think he's going to do it. O'Sullivan has been absolutely determined to go for the big one and make it 3 in a row. A little clench of the fist, and he's done it. Brilliant win.
Jerry, congratulations. 3rd year in a row now. That's pretty good.
Just about.
How tough was it out there?
Oh, very tough. I started to cramp on the bike again. So in the kayak then cramped again. I was under pressure there for a while. Ronan O'Shea was only 15 seconds down on me, so somehow I stretched it out coming down the mountain again, so thank God.
O'Shea heading towards the finish at the Gleneagle Hotel. A well-deserved second place, but he just couldn't live with O'Sullivan. Confirmation then, O'Sullivan takes the win by 1 minute and 40 seconds. And in the women's race, Lynette O'Connor was victorious by just over 5 minutes. Meanwhile, the 69k boys and girls are out on the course, and it looks at the moment as though McMorland is going to overcome those mishaps and close in on the win. Well, no matter how long it's taken, they have all suffered and smiled in equal measure. Talk Waterfalls, just an example of the stunning setting of this race.
Oh, it's fantastic. Great spot, always good enough.
Well, there's no doubt who this fabulous day belongs to. It's Aidan McMorland in just under 4 hours, and after overcoming a wrong turn and a puncture, he is the Killarney Adventure Race champion for 2013. What a way to seal the win.
Aidan, congratulations. First 69-kilometre competitor across the line. Get your breath back. Those stairs at the end must be pretty knackering.
Yeah, my calf started to cramp going up the steps there, so that final mountain climb was so tough. I think that was the toughest mountain run I've done this year.
Well, the damage was done by McMorland on that last descent, but all credit to Eric Wolf, a great second place. He's played his part in a wonderful contest.
That was pretty hard, actually. Got to learn to run downhill. I got caught by the leader there on the downhill and he just flew away from me. Oh, what a race, great.
Where he's been for so much of the race, it's third for Hennessy in this year's Killarney. Meanwhile, the climax of the women's race has been so tight. Marie Boyle has had to work so incredibly hard for this because Fiona Mead really hung on. Just a matter of 13 or 14 seconds between them. What a great showdown. Confirmation of the results on those two elite races. McMorland, those fast descents did the damage on the rest of the field. Wolf 5 minutes adrift, and Mead losing out by just 13 seconds to Marie Boyle. Meanwhile, Liam Delahunty closing in on the finish line. He's been hugely supported all along the way. What a story. Suffering from MS and fighting it with fitness. He's on a fundraising mission to complete 24 adventure races. This is the 5th instalment, and it's job done.
Congratulations, you've finished. How are you feeling?
Feeling fantastic. Can't describe how I feel, to be honest with you. I got held up on torque, I got a bit of cramp, but just pushed on through it, and I finished. Can't believe it. It's an achievement for me. Just goes to show, like, people with multiple sclerosis can, I suppose, achieve anything if they put their mind to it.
Well, it's not just the course and support that makes this event so unique. With such a convivial setting, it's time for a pint and it's time for a party, and there is plenty to talk about.
Every corner you went around, it just got steeper and steeper.
Pretty view though.
Gorgeous. I didn't see too much of it.
Going up to the top but seeing the view was amazing, so delighted I finished.
It's always cruel when you're in the middle of it. The minute you come across the line, you think it's the best thing ever. I can't wait for next year.
Well, after 6 hours out on course, the final few athletes are making their way home. It's been an epic adventure. We look forward to welcoming them and many more back here next year to once again tame the mountains and lakes of Killarney. But for now, from Kerry, it's goodbye.